They literally rallied a fucking farmer army. And these dudes, now, and I say farmer army, but a lot of these guys have some decent money, right?
Yeah.
They literally just all fucking ganged up and bought stock to artificially increase the price of GameStop stock to fuck the hedge funds over.
We're live, dudes. We're live. Welcome,
It's
everybody.
been so long.
I know. It has been quite a while. Welcome, everybody, to the Easy Company Podcast, episode 11 now. My name is Tango. I will be your host for this episode. With me, as always, I'm joined by Angry Private Ryan. I'm not angry. I'm just joined by Angry Private Ryan.
I am Angry Private Ryan.
And Gingerbeard Gaming. How's it going, fellas? This is our first episode that we've ever recorded in the evening as opposed to first thing in the morning. How you guys feeling?
Yeah, so when we're on our way to getting drunk rather than
hungover. It's actually kind of funny because the last episode we recorded, I was in a horrible place, physically and mentally hungover.
Yeah, that's because it was New Year's Day.
Yeah, and now we're recording in the evening, and this is my first drink.
Yeah. I'm excited. It should be a more adventurous episode, right? We've never seen this.
Yeah, we're gonna get really deep. It's gonna be the equivalent of like going out to the bar with your homies, and you end up, I don't know what happens.
Where is this going?
I don't know.
Find out where this is going. Yeah,
Clearly, I do a lot of partying.
Yeah. No, so the last episode that we recorded was January 1st, and we were kind of in this weird spot because I was going away for work for a while, and so we pre-recorded a few episodes. Yeah, we'll call it a vacation. We pre-recorded a few episodes so that they would be released even while I was away. So now we're actually getting back into a somewhat normal state of things. This next episode is going to be releasing in just a couple days here. And so, yeah, things are going back to normal now, but a lot has happened in the past month, mainly the Tarkov wipe, right? And Ryan, I know that you have taken your first dive into Tarkov, dude. Tell us what you think.
Yeah, I'm on like day, I don't know what it'd be, like 23 of playing Tarkov now. It's
you're a respectable level for where you're at with how many hours you've put in.
Yeah, I agree.
You're like really good at the movement in terms of like the flow of combat in the game, peeking corners, shooting, getting back in cover. Like a lot of people make the mistake of either just like exposing themselves way too much to the enemy because they're so focused on trying to get the kill that they're not thinking about their own positioning. Anyway, I'm not going to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, you're good. It was Kyle made a comment like that. I think one of the first times we were playing, he was like, "Well, your aim's fine and your movement is fine." And it makes sense to me why that's the case. Cause I mean, I've been playing, FPSs are my bread and butter, right? So like I get the do's and don'ts of playing FPSs and even realistic FPSs, cause I've played them a little bit in the past. But what's taken me a lot of getting used to and what took the longest time kind of getting up to speed is just kind of learning the maps, right? That's big, knowing where your extracts are, but then also knowing like what to look for when you're looting places. I found myself entering a room and like, so it'd be like me and Kyle or me, Kyle and Veggie. And we walk into a room and Kyle and Veggie go and they like disperse like little critters and they go do their looting. and I'm just sitting there with my gun, like with my thumb up my ass, like, so this is a nice warehouse. What do I fucking do? Because I didn't know like what to look for. Like what do lootable objects look like? So now I know, like the duffels, the crates and all that fun stuff and things like that. I didn't know what loose loot on the ground looked like. So that kind of took the longest getting used to, was trying to just kind of understanding what to be on the lookout for. But the gunplay has been a blast. I enjoy firefights a bunch. It's been a good breath of fresh air. It's also put me into a few instances of rage that have not been seen very often from me. I think we had one. What was it? It was Friday night. It was Friday night, right? We had it was on. I think Tango was the only one streaming. Me and Ginger were off stream, but I lost my absolute shit. It literally broke me. The game broke me. Why don't you
tell the listeners what happened there, Ryan?
All right, so let me paint the scene for you. Right, we were on Interchange with our PMCs, and we had a pretty successful outing. I was full up with loot. Tango needed scav kills. Tango had killed like 7 scavs that round. We had gotten good loot, and we were ready to rock and roll. And I had no food. I had no energy. My PMC had no energy. And I knew that it was an issue, but didn't quite understand all the trickle down effects that having no energy in your PMC were. And so like, get this, we were leaving, right? Like when my energy hit 0, we were outside heading towards extract. My energy hit 0, right? And we're on our way. We get to the extract, and the extract is this fucking highway that leads out. And we were on the outside of the highway on this like little grass area. And there's a guardrail that blocks, that divides the grass area and the highway. Well, this extract apparently is highway only. And I had no stamina to jump over the guardrail. And there was no breaks in the guardrails except for going all the way back to the fucking mall. And I literally starved to death on like literally two fucking centimeters away from the extract because I couldn't hop a guardrail.
Yeah. Well,
meanwhile, my friends got out. My friends got out and had a great raid and had a good old time. And I literally starved to death. And so here's the kicker, right? Because I didn't understand the severity of the situation until like I was
starvation is a pretty big deal.
I agree, but like I didn't. What I'm trying to say is I didn't realize the statistical effects it would have on my guy not being able to jump over a guardrail. I mean, this is what pissed me off. I could literally, in real life, I could just toss myself, like ragdoll myself over the guardrail to get there. But no, I can't do that in this. I had a can.
Who doesn't know, when your character runs out of energy, you don't recover stamina, and you need stamina to be able to jump in the game, which was the issue, is that he couldn't jump over the guardrail to get to the extract. So,
And I did have a can of Tushonka in my pack. And I think that's the biggest kicker.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but I was panicking at the extract, right? And so my mind didn't just think, because there was a group of PMCs that was at Interchange and they were headed our way and they were shooting and firing. So I'm panicking. I want to get out of there. In my mind, it never came to fruition. Like, oh, just eat the Tushonka real quick, regain some stam, then hop. My instinct was to just panic and die.
Tarkov is a game that like makes you panic so easily, though. Even the smallest things, because it's a game where every tiny little decision matters so much. Like every tiny, seemingly insignificant decision is literally the difference between life and death in that game. Like it's so easy to panic knowing that in your head, even though like you had the tools to overcome the problem. You even tossed your backpack like over the railing, like
to try to like relieve some weight,
try to regain some stamina until you realize that it was because you were starving that you couldn't jump, but like you had the tools to fix it, and like the game just makes you panic so easily.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I lost it a little bit that evening, but this just is the up and down of Tarkov. Also that night I hit 1 million rubles for the first time.
Right. Yeah, because you're about to quit, and we were like,
I was quit. I said I'm quitting. I'm done. I was gonna go chug the rest of the bottle of bourbon I had upstairs, and I was gonna just fucking black out drunk for the rest of the night. I was over it.
Just drown in your sorrows, dude.
I was so mad.
Yeah.
Oh my
playing
god.
The same death in your head over and over, dude. Tarkov is a game that does that, man. You have that one play and you're like, I fucking had that guy. I fucking had him. If I had just done this one thing different, and you like, it just sticks to your brain for the rest of the night and you keep dwelling on it. Again, I'm the smallest decisions get you killed.
I'm that kind of gamer regardless. Like any game I play, first person shooter especially, but like any game I play, I remember nights after, intense Warzone evenings where I'd be playing back things of Warzone in my head as I'm like laying in bed. I'm like, if I would have pushed here instead of there, and and it same way in Tarkov. You just sit there. If you've already got that mindset of like you're always trying to like think about what you could have done better, boy, Tarkov will fuck with your mind.
Hindsight is 2020.
It's such a game of hard knocks too. Like I don't understand how anybody would play that game and get
period.
Period. But like also how anybody without friends that have already gone through the roughest parts of that game would ever get into it. It's so unassailable. Like
you tried it, right? Your first foray into Tarkov was without any guide or anything, right? And it didn't go well.
No, I lost all my money. I didn't have any shit, and then I was, but yeah, I mean, but see, the thing is too, like the flip side of that is, I mean, Ryan learned his lesson.
Well, I mean, like, there's the thing. You always learn something when you die in Tarkov.
Yeah, you're never gonna.
It's that fucking guardrails are stupid.
And right.
Apparently, Russian guardrails are not regulation size.
And eating is important for jumping.
Yeah.
No, specifically.
No. Russian
Russian
fair, guardrails.
To be fair, I don't know exactly what it is they've changed as far as like the metabolism and the hunger and thirst, but it is brutal, this wipe. Way more than I ever remember it being. I don't know if that's true I mean, it always sucked if you got dehydrated and your energy got low, but it's never,
depending on how long you are in the raid and depending on how much weight your character is carrying now, you actually lose hydration and energy faster now. So
right. Yeah. And I think it's also, I don't know this for sure. I need to go look at some patch notes, but I'm pretty sure now, because I noticed that the other day when I was playing, I went through an entire raid without really even shooting or getting shot, and my hydration and energy were fine. But if you get in a fight, which we did several times during that raid, I mean, you're just drained, which I
kind of cool and makes you hungry.
Yeah. It makes sense. It really does. Well, then, do you guys remember I think we went and did. I can't remember if we did a PMC right after that, or we went and did a scav. You guys convinced me to stay on, and we went to Shoreline. So I'm assuming we scavved because we usually scav Shoreline. And I almost died of dehydration on the scav run.
Because we got no fight right at the spawn, and you got shot in your stomach.
And I was like, "This is not happening."
It was like, Ryan, where'd you get hit? He's like, "My stomach." I was like, "Oh no, we gotta get you out of here right now."
And you guys, it's so funny because these guys are like, they're like, "Can you get your guy to shut up?" And I'm like, "Guys, I don't know what to do. I've got nothing on me."
I'm not even gonna lie to you. That was such a high priority to get you out of that raid alive because I knew you were gonna turn the game off for the rest of the night and probably never revisit it again if you didn't survive that raid.
Especially if I didn't survive because of dehydration.
Oh yeah, it was such an important personal mission of mine to make sure fucking saving Angry Private Ryan, like
the namesake.
Oh my god, you should go back and clip that entire raid, and that's the title: is saving
Angry Private Ryan.
Yeah,
I mean, I went back a couple times and listened to my meltdown after the interchange just to hear it. And it's funny because fucking Tango, of course, he's on cloud 9. He just got like 7 scav kills. He got out. He's like feeling it. He's like, why don't you just? He's like, well, just stop, stay still, just calm down. He's like, you'll just regain some stam. And then like you hear me scream like, I'm not regaining stamina. And then Tango goes, oh shit, like, are you completely out of energy? And then you just hear me go, fuck! And I just like life just falls apart. And it's so funny because Tango's just over here like cracking up, but trying not to let me hear it. And little does he know I had already thrown my headset. Like it was across the room.
Yeah, I could tell because you sounded further away from your microphone. I knew you just got up off your chair, and I was like, "Yeah, he's got to go take a walk after that one, man."
I walked out, and my girlfriend was watching TV right out here in the basement, and she just looked back. She goes, "Are you okay?" Nope. Don't talk to me.
That's the thing, though, is every death in Tarkov, you do stand to learn something. Like, there's two different types of players. There's the players who will take a lesson from their death, and there's the players who are like, no, I did everything right. It was the other guy's fault. He plays like a rat. He plays like a bitch. Like, and it's just like, no, there's always something to learn from a fight. Like, you know, hindsight is always 20/20, but if you go back and rewatch your fight that you died in, there's always a better decision you could have made. Always. And like, you're never going to win 100% of the fights, but there's always something you can learn from every loss. Even every like win. Sometimes you take like a 50-50 chance and you're like, oh, that was pretty dumb, even though it worked out for me, you know?
Well, there was a firefight me and Ginger got into where we ended up winning. It was like a 3-on-3, I think. It was that night we were playing with Bardal, Kyle. And we Papega'd I mean, it was a terrible firefight on our part. Like, we had no business. Worse. We had no business winning a firefight. We went back and looked through that, and we were like, yeah, you know what we learned here? That holy shit, we should not have survived, but they were just really bad.
Yeah, those guys literally, we were on customs on the, if you haven't seen it, Tango, we were on, we were outside of Old Gas through the gate and in that little ditch. And these motherfuckers had the audacity to come at us one at a time through the ditch.
On the railroad side. Like, so they're just hugging the wall. And I'm like, okay, boom.
One guy that runs across the railroad and flanks us, and we're dead because we've got Bardal, who's literally put like 30 minutes into the game at that point, and me, who can't hit his shots, and Ryan,
I was Papega everything.
It's just like, thankfully they single filed right into our bullets, you know?
Yeah. I think my end game after raid stats on that one, I fired like 87 rounds and I hit 11.
Yeah.
I mean, it was bad.
I'm gonna stop running M4s until I get 60 round mags so you can portable, because like I just gotta reload, you know, like
I have no ammo.
That's the thing. That's why I'm scared to use the 45 ACP P90, because they don't have the high capacity magazines like the 9mm P90 does. Or not the P90, sorry, the Vector, which is a completely broken gun, by the way. Absolutely just devastating weapon. I think an AK shoots somewhere around like 600 rounds per minute, right? And if you look at the P90, it is north of 1,000. I think it's a 1,100 RPM for 45 ACP and like 990 for 9mm or something. It's a fucking laser beam.
I love that. One of the things I love about Tarkov is figuring out how much money you're spending per mag. And just like, it's like, well, there's 100,000 rubles.
Yeah, very expensive scav.
Boy, I hope he had something good.
Going back to like the Tarkov lesson learning, though, like I think that's what's kept me. Even though and frankly, this week I was pretty frustrated with Tarkov, and I put it down for about a week, and then got back into it. But the thing that I've always loved about it is that it's hard and it's punishing, but it's very rarely unfair. You know, like as long as you play within the parameters. I said very rarely. There are times when it's, but
you've got to be talking like over.
Not counting desync. Not counting
desync. Yeah, okay. Desync is bullshit. And like, but like Ryan's death, like that's completely within the realm of the rules of the game. Like if you don't eat, you can't jump. You know, like if you've exhausted yourself, and that's, you know, like we were talking about this the other night, Tango, about the new med system, which I think is fantastic. But like it used to be that you just had like bleeds and fractures and pain to deal with, and now you've got like if you get a heavy bleed, like you got to take care of that shit now, and then afterwards you've got to rehydrate. You've got to do. I mean, it's like catastrophic failures. But that's fair. Like you just took a bullet, dude. Like, you know, like you're not gonna just shrug that shit off. And so don't get hit, don't get shot. And if you do get shot, make sure you've got the tools to take care of it. I mean, it's not easy, but it's not unfair, I feel like, you know.
And it makes the smaller caliber weapons devastating. Like it makes them viable. Whereas before it was like, if you don't have high armor pen, especially at the end of a wipe, then tough shit. But now if you hit somebody and you cause them to heavy bleed because you're using something with higher flesh damage or something like that, is actually really devastating to them. And they're actually going to implement into the game, I don't know when, but it is planned, where when you're wearing body armor, the only areas that you are protected are the actual locations of the plates within that body armor. So if you get shot between your plates, it's not going to do shit for you, which is going to make those like submachine guns, the Vector is probably going to be like super scary then, but like it makes shotguns viable again. Because I remember when I first played Tarkov, like, I don't know, 2 years ago now, it was like there was 3 different types of armor in the game. There was like the white body armor, there was P.A.C.As, and then there was fort armor. Like that was it. And if you didn't have something that could pen that fort armor, good luck. There was no face hitbox. The best helmet in the game was the Kiver. And I had a shotgun and I shot somebody in his face repeatedly with the 153, but because he didn't have that face hitbox yet, he just tanked all these rounds to the face and lit me up. And I was just so frustrated. But now there's actual like use for shotguns and submachine guns again, whereas before it was just like, you got to bring a high power rifle, something that's going to pen armor, or you're just not going to kill the guy.
Yeah.
So I'm excited, and I actually really hated the med system at first. Like when they added all these new changes, where they added heavy bleeds and all this stuff. But now that I've realized that it makes these smaller caliber weapons a little more of a viable option. It gives you more range of weapons that are actually good to use. I actually really enjoy it now. But it crosses, like, it's really close to that boundary of realism versus gaming, which I know we've talked about before, but I want to talk about because every time you talk about Tarkov, you got to bring that up. It's such a difficult balance when they're trying to make this like realistic game. But I've said in the past that the game is also meant to be played as like an RPG, not just like a shooter, but it's like a super somewhat realistic shooter. Like it's such a weird game in like what threshold does it cross? I don't really know. One of the more recent changes of the game that a lot of people either seem to be on one side of the fence or the other about, but it's a kind of a controversial topic, is when they reduce your arm stamina. So your PMC can raise his weapon depending on its ergonomics for like, I don't know, 20 seconds or something like that before he gets tired and his aim starts getting shaky. And a lot of people were saying like, well, that's not realistic. And I don't know. I think it is realistic because you don't even have to be in the military. If you've ever shot a gun and you are not supporting that gun on anything, you're just in like the high ready, especially standing up, like your arm gets tired pretty fucking quick. People were like, oh, these are like aren't real soldiers, real trained soldiers, able to hold their guns up longer. And it's like, well, yes, you could hold your gun up, but to hold a steady sight picture and to really able to accurately place shots down range, like, no, that shit's not easy to do. But that's one of those things that you could argue. It's like, okay, well, maybe we should just take realism out of this and maybe you should just be able to hold your fucking gun up longer. But then other people counter that, so.
Well, I think, but it's also like a similar point could be made for Ryan's death, where he, starved to death within 30 minutes. Like that doesn't happen. But I think the counterpoint to that is it's so condensed, right? Like you're in a raid for 30 to 40 minutes, but a real raid would be, quite a bit longer. You might be out in the field for a week at a time. I mean, like the raid series, like those guys have been out there for, God knows how long on patrol. Right. And so, I mean, I get the thing, but it's also like, you got to remember that the time is condensed down. So you might be able to hold your gun up for maybe 5 minutes longer than the PMC is actually able to, but because it's all condensed like that. I mean, that's what they're trying to, this is what they're trying to approximate, right? Is like a longer time period than there's actually.
You're bringing it to scale is what you're doing.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
You're bringing it down to scale.
Well, I think it's a good balance for the game though. Like you shouldn't be able to just sit there and hold an angle for 5 minutes. Like if you're going to sit there and hold that angle for a little while, there's got to be a consequence to that. Like your PMC
Absolutely.
gets tired, you have to withdraw back to cover. That gives the other guy some options to either push forward or stay where he's at. Like it adds a new dynamic to firefights where you can't just sit there and hold an angle forever.
Otherwise, whoever's holding the angle is going to win the gunfight 100% of the time, right? Like, well, not 100%, right? But they've got an advantage right off the bat if you don't give them any sort of fatigue options.
Mm-hmm.
They've kind of got an advantage because the aggressor actually has advantage more than half of the time because of desync.
Are you talking? Well, okay, but we got to normalize for desync here. So normalize for desync.
Hopefully they could fix the desync issues, and
that would be the hope. But
that would be great.
But in almost every gameplay type decision, you are theoretically. You are holding your environment equal, like that you're making those. So when they're making a arm stamina decision about how that affects, the ability to hold an angle for, in perpetuity, they're making that determination on, okay, well, if they can hold the angle in perpetuity, that gives them a distinct advantage. Whoever's holding the angle first, they're thinking about that without saying, well, our servers are shit, so we have desync. They're not that, right? Like they're trying to make those gameplay decisions with the environment being equal, right? So yeah, you're completely correct. The aggressor likely has the advantage over
only at very close range though.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. But so if we keep that out of it and we focus, because if you want to focus on realism versus gameplay, desync, I don't lag going around corners in real life. I don't think sometimes, unless I hit the wall.
Yeah, but
I think they've done an extremely good job of managing the realism and making it a very realistic feeling shooter in a lot of ways. But keeping it a fun game to play, if that makes any sense, right?
Yeah. There has to be, because like imagine you broke your leg, like you're just fucked in real life. Like you're not getting out of that fight, In the game, you just pop a painkiller, you just fucking rub some Vaseline on your lips, and you're good to go. You can sprint around again. Your broken leg is still there, and just acts like he's not.
Here's one of the pet peeves I can't seem to get over. Augmentin is a fucking antibiotic, not a painkiller.
I just get my whiskey.
That really fucking has bothered me ever. So, like, I remember, like,
Vaseline doesn't have pain-killing proproperties.
Completely agree. But like, for some reason, it pissed me off so bad. Kyle was like, "Well, I got an Augmentin here. You can take that." I'm like, "I don't have an infection," and he's like, "No, it's painkiller." I'm like, "No, it's not. What are you talking about? This is bullshit."
Yeah.
So if they want to leave arm stamina in and let Augmentin be a painkiller, I'm okay. Fine.
You're fine with it.
I'll compromise.
Yeah,
I think arm stamina is a great concept, and I actually really like that.
Yeah,
I agree.
I think one interesting thing about Tarkov is that, which is kind of what we're getting at here, is that say you're playing like CS:GO, right? You in theory, everything is more or less an equal playing field, right? Like they've smoothed that out as much as possible. And so then it's literally just skill v skill, right? In Tarkov, they basically say, no, fuck that. You're going to have guys that have no armor against guys who have the best armor and guns in the game, right? And I think that concept where, no, fuck your equality, this is going to be an unfair matchup, one way or the other, is actually one of the most fascinating parts of the game and one of the most rewarding parts of the game because things are not equal. Like you may have no arm stamina because you haven't developed that skill or whatever. You may have not the best ammo in the game, or you may have the best ammo in the game. I mean, it flips on its head, but it actually, I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, I think that's more a sim of real life than anything in the game, because any matchup, like you sometimes you just get lucky. That's one of the things that pisses me off the most about people that come in and talk shit in a chat, is because no, dude, like you're not better than me. You just like you might be better than me, but you also might have just got lucky. The other day we were playing Shoreline, and we were running a 3-stack, me and Veggie and Chris, and we're running down to the pier. And I just happened to could have run along the road all the way down to the pier. I just happened to like jump over the fence and like go the rat way through Shoreline, you know, like underneath, and just happened to see some fucking bridge rat like go from one side to the other, like just barely caught his leg. Veggie would have been fucking dead. Like Veggie, you know how Veggie plays, just
sprints forward, just W keys.
And I was
everybody.
like, no, stop. You know, there's a guy underneath the bridge, and I just happened to see him. Like, it wasn't anything. I mean, it was a decision I made, but in a lot of ways, like, I just got lucky. You know, I just happened to see him. I mean, that shit happens all the time in like real combat. You know, I mean, you can do all the right things and still lose. And you get lucky sometimes. I like that part because I think it makes the fights more memorable for one thing. Because you don't necessarily make all the right decisions. Sometimes you just get fucking Tarkov'd, you know? So
or you Tarkov someone else.
Or you Tarkov somebody else. I mean, that's exactly right. I mean, as frustrating as it is to get Tarkov'd, like you benefit from it more often than not, you know?
It's interesting that you say that too, that you could do everything right and still die.
Yeah.
Because you got to just accept that, man. That's Tarkov for you. It's about the lowest lows and the highest highs, you know?
You're talking about lethal weapons, like lethal weapons. You introduce lethal weapons into a situation, like anything, literally anything can fucking happen. You know?
Here's what I'm proposing.
Yeah.
We introduce Tarkov to America's youth. And we say, here is life. Yeah. Sometimes you do all the things right, and you still get fucked.
Yeah, right.
You still get kicked in the dick, no matter what you do.
Yeah. Welcome to the Thunderdome, bitch. Get ready for
it. Yeah, I mean that's true though. It is
100%. It is,
and it's hard, rewarding. Yeah,
yeah, but it's also it's really hard when you get Tarkov'd. Also, I wonder if they ever imagined in their wildest dreams when they were making this game that people would turn it into a fucking verb. But
probably let's be honest.
It's tough when you're in the moment of and you just got Tarkov'd. It is so hard. We can have this kind of mindset when we're sitting here, you know, just talking about our prior experiences. But boy, when you get Tarkov'd, it fucking sucks. It is miserable. Yeah. But to your point, when you go back and then you think about it, you're like, okay, all right, got it.
For anybody who doesn't know what getting Tarkov'd means, I hope I can explain this right. It's when things are seemingly going very well and your life gets ended super fast. From some bullshit, from a good play, it doesn't matter. Things are going pretty well, and then they get bad really fast. And getting Tarkov typically means things are going super good for you before they're not.
Yeah, it's never you're never until you see that raid ended screen. You're not safe. Like you're just literally not.
You're not. Yeah, anything could happen.
There could be someone camping the extract.
Yeah,
but some of the funniest moments too have occurred. Like it was Friday night. One of our last raids, I think, or at least mine. We were PMCing woods, and we were kind of sitting around in a warehouse, right? And I'm just kind of sitting there. I had a lot to drink at this point, and it was almost 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm like super tired, and I'm just kind of limping through the rest of this raid in real life. And I'm sitting in the corner of this fucking warehouse, right? And I see Kyle run across the warehouse towards a big open door, and all of a sudden, Kyle gets his head shot off from God knows where. I have no idea. But Kyle's body goes limp, and Kyle just goes, "I'm fucking dead." And I'm like, And all of a sudden, like shit just got real fast. And it's so funny how that can occur. And I just some of the funniest things have occurred.
Yeah. It's like in Red Dead when you're walking through with roads or whatever, and Sean just takes a bullet to the head. That's what happens in Tarkov all the fucking time. You're walking down and things are great, and then your friend gets shot in the head.
I think what we've established here is the Calvin and Hobbes dad take on Tarkov, which is Tarkov builds character. It teaches you about life.
So I'm saying introduce it.
Put you in your
introduce
fucking
it in high
place real
school.
fast. That's for sure.
I think we should make this part of whatever standardized education. This needs to be a thing. Put it in high school.
I think that's the thing about every like hardcore game that's super challenging is that most games that are super hard, they don't paint you as like the hero. You are like, I was playing this game called Exanima recently. Just got into a super fun game. It's like a dungeon crawler, but it's all like super physics based and like it's a really fun game. But the very beginning of the game, I think it's trying to explain itself to you, and it's basically just like, you're not the hero of this world, you are just an inhabitant of it. And I was like, yeah, holy shit, that really fucking paints the picture for me, right? Like I'm literally a nobody. I'm literally a nobody. And Tarkov, you're literally a nobody. And DayZ, you're nobody. Like all of these super hardcore games, you aren't shit. And the games let you know that repeatedly. But that's what makes them so rewarding, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
When things do go well.
Know your place trash meme right here.
Well, and and I think too, like the Tarkov meme is that one podcast where Nikita said something to the effect of, which translation issues and are probably at work here too, but he said something to the effect of like, Tarkov is not meant to be fun, which is fucking hilarious. But also like, but I think like I've thought about that a lot as I've been obsessed with it. And I like, I don't know where I'm going with that other than that, like, it's not fun sometimes. It's very unfun, actually.
That's got to be a creative stroke of genius, though. Because you and I were even talking, like, when you make Arma missions, you're not, like, trying to wipe out the players when you're playing as Zeus. You're trying to make it fun for them. You're trying to give them situations that challenge them, but ultimately they're going to survive because they have that experience of, I just got into this firefight and survived. Like, most games aren't designed to be hard. They're designed to be fun. And then, sometimes every once in a while, a guy like Nikita comes and just says, fuck that, fuck the players, fuck everything you stand for. Like, you are a piece of shit in my game.
Some people want to watch the world burn, and I can appreciate it.
It's crazy, though, because they come up with a lot of these concepts that, like, they have absolutely no idea, I feel like, personally, how it's going to affect the game. And then they like see the community's response and then they come up with ways to adjust it after the fact. Like the flea market is a perfect example in this game. The flea market is this player driven market where anybody can put any item in the game up for sale and trade it for in-game money to other players or trade it for other objects or whatever. Right. But like it very quickly got to the point where when the flea market was first released, that you could put any item up on the market, and if you unlocked the higher tier traders before someone else did, you could buy ammo from those traders for very cheap. You'd buy every bit of ammo in that trader's stock, and then you turn around and sell it on the flea market at a much higher premium to lower level characters, to lower level players. And then they came up with that status to fix that problem where everything that you put on the market has to be found in raid or crafted in your hideout. Like you can't buy from traders and then sell it to players anymore, right? So like they come up with shit, and that's like a huge, because the economy is a huge part of this game. How many of a certain object or how many of a certain ammo is circulating through the game's economy, and all these players are using it in the raids. When you throw something like a flea market in there, just complete player driven market, you have people who are godlike at the game that are just monopolizing a certain item in the game. And like they fixed it, and they come up with shit all the time and then they tweak it afterwards. And it's like, it's super, I guess, brave, or like, I don't know, sometimes you don't know how something's going to affect the game. It could ruin it, but they keep coming up with these drastic changes and making it work.
It's refreshing to see them do that tweaking and balancing, though, because there are plenty of developers out there with a lot more resources than these guys who implement things that break their games and then they don't fucking fix them. So it's like, I'm all for it. I think it's brave, but I think it's absolutely needed. Like, that's how you evolve your game. And especially because technically Tarkov is still in beta, right? So, I mean, they need to keep building their game. They can't let it be stagnant. So keep introducing things. And to your point, while at a time, things like the flea market and the hideout were kind of weird taboo additions to the game, right? But now are very integral parts of the game. And like the hideout, for instance, is one of my favorite parts of the game because like I enjoy going out into the raids a lot more because I'm like trying to find things to go back and upgrade my hideout. It provides a lot more substance to the raids for me. Yeah. They have to keep doing that. They have to keep the game.
The hideout was another thing that was like this huge addition that was going to really affect the game because it wasn't there before. And you can craft certain items. You can craft some of the best ammo in the game in your hideout and stuff like that. So like, yeah. You know,
you have to, and it's just like I keep going back to other developers, and I'm sure people can figure out who the fuck I'm talking about, but who don't fix their game, and they have the resources, and they implement things that literally break their game, and take forever to even remotely implement a balance that may or may not even be sufficient. It's just like at least they're putting it out there and listening to the feedback and tweaking.
To go back to with their community.
I don't know if it's an argument we've been having throughout 11 episodes of the podcast, but definitely a discussion we've been having. This right here is why I love well-made early access beta type games, because you never like the game evolves, and you can experience it in real time as it does. It's a changing thing. Sometimes it gets better, sometimes it gets fucking worse. Let's be real. But like even so, it's just never this. Like even this wipe, even like I said, like the hunger system, the medical system. I started playing really hardcore after Hideout was implemented. But yeah, I mean, it completely changes it. But that kind of stuff is just that keeps me coming back because I think I might be slightly ADD. About like I just can't, like if something is. If something is not, fresh, like, I lose interest pretty quick. But yeah, I mean, I agree. I think
that's the thing about the small early access developers, though, isn't it? Is that like they are the most in tune with their communities out of anybody. It's like, okay, well, you've already paid for the game that we haven't finished making yet. Tell us what you want us to do. That's the whole reason we sold the game to you early in the first place, right? Yeah. Whereas if you finish a game and then release it like, well, this is our game. Hope you like it. We made it based off of what we wanted, not necessarily off of what you wanted. But we hope they align.
Yeah. Going back to something, Ryan, it's so funny. Like I love. I said this on the last episode, I think, or the episode before, but like I love getting new people into the game, and I think the reason I love it is because we've I don't know if I can call myself a veteran. I have like over 400 hours in it at this point, but many people have much more. But like I at least kind of know my ass from a hole in the ground as far as Tarkov goes a little bit. And but what I love is introducing new people, because then you remember how deep it actually is and how much you learn every time. And then like, I mean, you're exactly right, Ryan. Like your goal in a raid can be completely different based on what you've got going on. Like, am I going to dorms to do a task? Am I going there to just fight and get loot? And do I want a PvP? Or am I just, ratting around the map trying to find the fucking gas analyzer that I've needed for 3 weeks? It's not,
or the Amelia Rye croutons.
Yeah, Amelia Rye croutons. I mean, such stupid shit, and other games have done stuff like that. Like I know, I never got into World of Warcraft, but I understand that was a big part of, or still is probably a big part of World of Warcraft, like hunting around the map for this one item.
Yeah, that a certain enemy that has a small chance of even dropping it. Mm-hmm. So you just walk around trying to find this one enemy, and
yeah.
It was I played as a hunter in World of Warcraft, and I wanted this one back in like World of Warcraft Classic. I can't remember the name of it, but there was this one like lion, like a mountain lion, that was a super rare enemy that only spawned in a certain area, but super rarely, and like they only spawned at night or something shit like that. So I fucking hunted this thing for weeks. And I never found it. That's the fucking crazy thing.
World of Warcraft gets so weird. Like you said, they'd be like some NPC enemy thing that would spawn, like 4% of the time between these hours. And if you killed them, there was like a 2% chance they'd drop something for you. And then you'd be like, all right, here I go.
Not to mention there's other players all over the place that are searching for the same thing that you're doing. And it was super important to me that I caught this thing alive because I was trying to tame it as a pet, because I was a hunter and I wanted this badass that had like this certain ability that other like cat type pets in the game didn't have. I don't know what the fuck it was, but it's, I'm walking around there and every time I saw another player, I was just like, you get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out. This is my territory.
I work this corner. You get the fuck
out. Yeah. So I'm curious to know, or were you going to go on?
No, you.
Well, I have a question for you. Like, I guess, what were you, okay. What did you learn? Like because you were anti-Tarkov for a long time. So I know like there were a couple of things that got you into it, which I heard you say, which were like, you wanted to play with the buddies. You just tired of Call of Duty. I think there were some other things, but like, what do you like? Do you regret your decision for one? And then also like, what were you wrong about Tarkov? I'm just curious. Not what were you wrong about? That sounds like
why didn't you want to play Tarkov to begin with?
Yeah. Why didn't you want to play Tarkov?
No, but I don't think saying what were you wrong about is wrong. I think that's perfectly okay to ask. So to recap, what made me decide to finally pick it up was more than anything, I am
me.
Yes, Ginger. And then more than anything else, I was fucking sick and tired of Warzone. I am over Warzone. It is no fun to play anymore. It's miserable. I don't have fun playing it, and no one has fun playing it with me because I don't have fun playing it. And I am a fucking grouch when I play that game now. Yeah. So but like I said at the beginning of this, I always need some sort of FPS to play, right? I need a shoot 'em up bang bang game. Like that is what I play. And there hasn't been it's been a long time since all of us have kind of been into the same game, like really into the same game. And so I was like, well, it is a first person shooter. It's a fresh breath of air. The boys are playing it. Like, so those were the two biggest things. And so I just said, you know what, fuck it. I'll do it. And what I was wrong about was that by leaps and bounds wrong was that there was no point to the raids. So that was my biggest thing for the longest time was I didn't understand what the point of the raid was. I was like, okay, so you have some shit. And I think I said something like this on the last podcast, but you have some shit, you take it in with you. If you die, you lose that shit. If you survive, you have some more shit that you add to like your pile of shit. And that like, and to me, that was all it was. I was like, that seems dumb. I don't get it. That doesn't make sense to me. That's what I was wrong about because the raids now I understand what the raids mean, right? Like you're either, to your point, Kyle, you could be there for a multitude of reasons. Are you there to do a task, like a literal quest, right? I mean, to go back to the RPG elements of it, are you there to do a quest? Are you there because you're low on money and you just need to pick up anything you can put your hands on and sell it? Are you there looking for a specific item of some sort? Or are you there to just fight?
Yeah.
It could be any of those things, but the raid does mean something. Each and every raid means something. And that's what I was wrong about.
And it's crazy that you can go to exactly the same location for a multitude of these different reasons. but they're all at the same place. And depending on what you're there for, you're going to play it completely different. Depending on what type of gear you have, you're going to play it completely different. Do you have, a shotgun? Do you have a fucking Vector with an Alton helmet and the best armor in the game? Or do you have like a bolt action rifle,
What I also find interesting is how you can start a raid. Let's say you're going into customs and your whole plan is to go do like a loot run or something, or you, depending on where you end up spawning in on customs, can completely change what you end up doing in that fucking round, right? Because if you spawn on a really bad part, bad end of the map that has no rotates that work for what you were originally going to do, you have to decide you got to call an audible. Or the audible, you may stick, you may be hard headed and stick with it. And you say, okay, well, I'm just going to try to like punch through and get to where I need to be. Or you may call an audible and be like, all right, we're going to turn this into we're just going to do a loot rotate and we're going to say, fuck that task. So
and then you run into another player spawn and then you die.
Yeah. Bingo. And then you get Tarkov.
That's a great fucking point. And I was actually going to say this earlier that the one of the things I love is that even though the maps are static, that each raid feels different in a lot of ways because exactly of that, like you have to make strategic decisions or lack of strategic decisions
or stupid decisions.
Yeah, or stupid decisions, as the case may be, on each raid. The other thing I was going to ask about with you guys is something that's kind of not bothered me, but I guess made me a little bit sad about Tarkov is the quests themselves or the tasks themselves. They have all of this like backstory behind them, like all this text, that you can read that kind of fleshes out the whole thing. And nobody ever reads them, right? But it doesn't. Like the thing that's fascinating though is like it doesn't fucking matter. Like it's still a thing to do that gives you progress. Like it's such an interesting, as an RPG, I mean, we talk about Tarkov as an RPG. As an RPG, honestly, as far as the story goes, it kind of fucking sucks. Like there's a lore behind the game, but there's not, I mean, it doesn't reinforce that lore like in some other games, like a Fallout or like like an Elder Scrolls or something. But it doesn't really seem to matter. Like you know what I mean?
I think from a storytelling perspective, it falls beyond flat.
Mm-hmm.
But they do well with other RPG elements, like making things feel kind of your own, right? And that I think that's what they do well with the RPG elements, and that's what has kind of surprised me about the game. You want to go back to like what I was wrong about, right? That's something that's really snuck up on me, is how it's kind of made certain things feel more personal to you. And it goes back to making the raids feel meaningful, but still it just, everything feels a lot more personal because of the hideout. Like I've been absolutely fucking tilted so many times because I went into a raid, finally found something I needed for a hideout upgrade. And I'm like, yes, finally I can have lights in my underground bunker. And then I get shot in the face and I'm like, no, but it makes it feel personal. And so from that perspective, they've done well with the RPG, but I completely agree. From a storytelling, I have no idea what the hell the lore is or anything.
I think my favorite RPG element of the game is the same reason I loved World of Warcraft so much. And that is, World of Warcraft Classic in particular, is because it was always such a grind to get your character to level up. It was such a grind that you really felt the progression in your character, even though it's the smallest change. Like in the case of World of Warcraft Classic, right? You mainly leveled, you did quests and stuff, but sometimes there wasn't enough quests in the area that you were questing in to actually level your character. And then the next area would be too high level for you to go, right? So you had to sit there and you had to just fight enemies over and over and over and grind it and try to farm the XP. So when your character leveled up and you had like a 1% damage increase, you really fucking felt that tiny little 1% damage increase, because that's all you're doing is you're constantly just fucking fighting enemies. And it's the same thing in Tarkov. When you have a minus 1% recoil control, right? You start to really feel that, and that shit adds up over time. If you don't believe me, wipe your account and start back from square one when you have 0 recoil control compared to where you are when you're level 20 or 30 or 40 or whatever. I mean, the smallest little changes in your stats make a huge deal. When you can survive a raid without drinking for 40 minutes as opposed to 30 minutes is fucking huge. When you're out of raid, the level at which your energy and hydration recover is faster when you're a higher level. That's fucking huge. You really feel it. Even though it's such a grind, the tiniest statistics really make a huge difference.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point.
I wanted a Christmas tree in my hideout, damn it.
Yeah.
They need to let me put up like an Easter bunny or something.
There are pumpkins you can wear on your head during Halloween, so that's kind of nice.
Yeah.
I did have I thought I saved a couple Santa beards.
There you go. Yeah. So you got those.
I wonder what those are going for on the market now.
They're not
Do you
much.
think people are buying them? No.
They're not much, no.
Sad.
Trust me, I've already thought of that. Big bright plays.
Yeah, trying to invest early.
High, low, sell high,
Trying to
boys.
invest in Santa beers like it's GameStop stock, man.
Don't get me started on that. Oh my god, dude.
I actually do want to get you started now because I haven't followed the financial markets for forever, dude. Why is GameStop taking off now?
Because of
Reddit.
Gamers.
Because of Reddit. I mean, literally because of Reddit. So here's the extremely short, and I'm sure does not cover any of all the topics that are going on, right? But basically, what has happened is a bunch of large, big money hedge funds put short positions on GameStop, meaning they make money if GameStop stock goes down.
Yeah.
Hold on. I actually think we need to explain for people who don't know what an actual short position is. Can you do that in a couple of words? I think I've had too many whiskeys.
You're betting on the price going down. When the stock
You're
price goes
betting
down,
on the
you
price
make
going
money on
down.
the short.
More than that.
But technically what you're doing is you're borrowing shares to then sell them at the lower price. So that's why you make money if it goes down, is because you're buying low. You're borrowing the shares from the broker. It's really it's super difficult. You're borrowing shares from a broker to then theoretically you will be able to pay the lower price if the stock goes down. But if the stock goes up, you're shit out of luck. So, and the way in my finance classes in college, the way they always put it too was when you buy a stock, just plain old buy a stock, right? Let's say you buy a stock for $10. If the stock goes to $20, you made $10 a share, right? If the stock goes to zero, you lost $10 a share, right? But there's a bottom to that position. When you short a stock, it could go all the way to fucking anywhere top wise, right? So when you short a stock, there is no floor to what you can lose. But there actually is a ceiling to what you can gain. So anyways, I did not do a short justice there, by the way. And I do finance as a profession. So don't worry about it. Anyway,
neither do these other motherfuckers, apparently. So
yes. So in the end, basically what you need to know is you make a lot of money if the stock goes down, but you lose a buttload of money if it goes up. And the biggest thing about a short position, the issue is that if the stock ends up going up to a certain amount, you actually have to recover your short position because you're borrowing money. And so you got to think of it kind of as a loan, right? So if you are a loan shark and someone borrows a bunch of money and they need more money, like you're not going to just keep loaning them money, right? You got to get some money back from them. So that's key to remember here. Basically, these big money hedge funds have put these massive short bets in on GameStop stock because, as we all know, GameStop is a shitty retailer that is going to go out of business any day. And
fundamentally, it's a sound investment, right? Fundamentally, it's a sound decision to short
quite honestly, like
GameStop.
I hated going into a GameStop when it was booming. So I definitely don't like going into a GameStop now, right? But I don't know how it started, who started it, but there is a subreddit called Wall Street Bets. And it's basically for a bunch of people to talk about. In the past, it's been, people talking about all these like stock positions they're taking and things like that. And at some point, they literally rallied a fucking farmer army. And these dudes now, and I say farmer army, but a lot of these guys have some decent money, right?
Yeah.
They literally just all fucking ganged up and bought stock to artificially increase the price of GameStop stock to fuck the hedge funds over. And the hedge funds have lost billions in the span of like 8 hours. I mean, billions and billions and billions of dollars are being lost because we go back to that situation where if stock goes up and you have a short position, you have to actually recover your position. So you have to give more money because you're continuing to borrow. These hedge funds are like all going bankrupt, to be the ones who had massive short positions. And so literally what did we look at, Kyle? It was the GameStop stock was like $3, the high threes, maybe just under $4.
Like a few days ago. It closed today at over like $350 a share.
Okay, but when something goes up that fast, when it spikes up, right, how long can that really sustain itself, though? You got this massive amount of trading volume. How, like, the only way to keep that stock price up that high is to continue that trading volume, right? So, like, what happens from here? They're eventually going to go back down to close to where it started.
Theoretically, right? Theoretically, it should go back down. What has contributed, again, to the spike and these Don't Kyle was saying this earlier. Don't let people tell you that fucking people who sit on Reddit are fucking idiots who, live in their mom's basement. They might be, but they're kind of fucking fivehead because they knew that when those hedge funds have to recover their short positions, it actually increases stock price even more. It drives demand for the share. So by covering the positions that these hedge funds had, they were actually increasing the stock price more. So the gains that they had was not just from Redditors buying the stock. It was also from Redditors fucking the hedge funds so much that they had to recover their positions. And basically the hedge funds are trying to muscle the Redditors out by recovering, right? Because they're just trying to say, look, you guys can there's only so many of you, right? Right? I hope.
I saw like an ABC article just before we got on this podcast was like, it said something effective like hedge fund managers and Redditors are locked into a war of attrition.
I mean, literally, it's like who will die first, basically.
I cannot fucking believe the news I'm hearing right now. I know there's a lot of news in the financial markets right now surrounding GameStop. I had no knowledge that like a bunch of Redditors were the ones that made this happen just to fuck the big guy over or something, stick it to the man, I guess.
It's literally a gang of people who were on the internet who decided to artificially manipulate the stock market. That's literally what has happened. Now, the result of that is that some asshole at a hedge fund got fucked. Yeah. So, and it's kind of funny. Me and Ginger were having this debate before we came on the podcast, and he's like, this is great. Those guys are getting fucked, and I'm like,
no, I didn't say that, but go ahead.
Yeah, I think you did. But and then I was like, no, this is not great. And he goes, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, and then I started to think about it. I'm like, well, fuck. They're artificially fucking with the markets. And then it's like, well, yeah, but so are the hedge funds. And I'm like, well, yeah. And then I'm like, but this just exposes that the stock market isn't traded based on fundamentals. And he's like, well, yeah. And I'm like, well, yeah.
And I'm like, no, most people know that though.
I'm like, hang on. I don't know why I think this is bad, but it's bad, damn it.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
those people know that stock market has been incredibly overinflated by now, though, right? You don't,
you would
right?
think. You would
right?
think.
They do now.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's where I was coming from, is like, if you didn't already, boy, do they know now, because it is all over Twitter, Facebook, Instagram.
That's fucking
nuts,
man. That's actually really hilarious.
Meme, as soon as you become a meme, it's an issue, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's crazy. Reddit literally just turned this into a giant meme.
I think we buried the lead just a little bit, though, because like to understand how much the stock price has climbed, we literally did the math. We did the math, chat.
We did the math
days ago when GameStop was trading at like a little over $3 a share. If you had a G bar to drop on GameStop stock, you're a fucking millionaire now. That's how much it went up. Capital gains tax, excluded. You're a millionaire. I mean, it has gone from $3 to, what did it close at? $3.47 we looked at today, so January 27th.
That's fucking crazy.
It's higher now, unless I might be wrong. I might be totally bullshitting, but I just looked up Apple stock. It's GameStop stock right now is higher now, according to my research, than Apple stock has ever been. Like,
imagine being the CEO of GameStop.
Oh yeah, dude.
There's a great meme going around where it's like, it's fucking Big Bird sitting at a conference table, and it was like GameStop execs sitting at the Fortune 500 table all of a sudden, and they don't know why. Yeah, they're like, they don't even know why. They're just sitting there like,
Hi guys.
I mean, they literally went from like nursing a company that was on hospice, basically.
Yeah, gaming's version of Blockbuster.
Right. Basically. I mean, literally. and all of a sudden they've got their stock is worth more than it's ever been in its life by a long shot. And it's just like,
there's no way it can sustain that price, though. I just don't see it happening.
No, it will go back down. The question
is
still
funny.
If it keeps going up, because so if you go onto that Reddit right now, it's like it's a weird place to be right now, that subreddit, because these dudes are like, they're like, well, it's actually really funny because they keep posting the fucking, if you've ever seen Wolf of Wall Street, they keep posting the "I'm not fucking leaving" meme.
They're just gonna sit there and hold it.
They're just like, we're not leaving. We're buying more. Like, we're taking this bitch to $1,000. Like, I'm just like, what is going on right now?
As a
hold,
as a lifelong gaming nerd, I have to say, there's a little bit of I get a little bit of satisfaction out of this whole thing, because to the point earlier, you sit there and you think Reddit is a bunch of nerds that live in their mom's basement, and there are certainly people that nerds that live in their mom's basement, but there are also a lot of nerds that did pretty well, for themselves. and have this sort of fucking chip on their shoulder about fucking billionaires. And it's a little validating. I'm not gonna lie. It's not that I'm a billionaire by any or did very well for myself by any stretch of the imagination, but even so,
it's funny that
you either die broke or you live long enough to see yourself become the enemy.
I know. I saw something. It was like something like, the year is 2030 and the largest hedge fund is r/Wall Street Bets. Like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Even the name, like Wall Street Bets, it seems like it's just a bunch of gamblers. Just the name, the title.
That's what it is. I mean, the stock market hasn't traded on fun. No, I disagree with that. The stock market has not always been. Yes, no. in hell, even in the last 20 years, that's all it's been. Mm-hmm. But it's just the stock market hasn't traded on fundamentals of any company ever. It's all about riding a roller coaster and following wherever the big money goes.
The trend, man.
The big money gets there.
Yep.
Are we about to have another fight about communism?
No. because
we're all on the same page on this one.
No, I tried to have that fight earlier, and then I kept getting myself stuck in a do loop about what the stock market actually was. Like, wait a minute, I can't refute that.
At the Easy Company podcast number like 200, Ryan's going to be fucking wearing a Stalin hat. Ushanka.
For the people.
Oh, shit.
Son of a bitch.
Well, dudes, we're almost an hour and 10 minutes here. So unless we have anything else we'd like to add, I think I'm going to cut it here.
I do want to throw it out there. I was dared, I'm not going to say by who, but one of our viewers dared us, one of these podcasts, to not talk about Tarkov.
To not talk about Tarkov?
Yeah. He was
That's
like,
all I've been playing for the past month.
I know.
That's not fair.
I straight up told him, I was like, well, it's not going to be this one because that's going to be mainly the thing. But it was just funny. I was like, we'll see what we can do one day, maybe, but probably not.
Damn, I'm gonna have to. I have to actually play other games. What the hell?
Oh, wait, what?
I kind of want to play Exanima.
Exanima? It's like $15. I don't know if it goes on sale very often. I just paid the $15 and I got I paid $15 for a hamburger and fries that lasted me 10 minutes. I've played this game for hours upon hours and had a great time. So
see, because I saw you playing that the other day and I knew it from I think a General Sam video or something like that.
Yeah, he did play it a couple times. He made a couple videos.
Yeah, maybe we can play something like that. I don't know.
I don't think the multiplayer's in the game yet, but I'm pretty sure it's planned. It's just it's such a great, fun little game to play. Way to kill a few hours. I played it until it's one of those games where the other night I was just playing and I was just in zombie mode and I looked at the clock and it was 3:30 in the morning and I was like, holy shit, I really need to fucking one more fight.
Was that a school night?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, thank God. I was like, you're fucked.
No. But anyway, dudes, let's start off with Ryan. Go ahead and give us your socials.
Yeah, shit. Let's see if I can remember them. Twitch.tv/Angry Private Ryan. And then on Twitter, I am at Angry Private Ryan. The private is abbreviated to PVT. I stream on Sunday afternoons as well as Monday and Thursday evenings.
I am at Gingerbeard Gaming, beard spelled BEERD, like the beer that you drink. And same as Gingerbeard at Gingerbeard92 on Twitter. I stream Sundays, Mondays, and Tuesdays, generally with some bonus streams thrown in.
And I am Tango on Twitter at 12TangoDom, and I stream on Twitch at 12TangoDom. Every weekend, as well as sometimes during the weekdays, whenever the army allows me to have any free time at all. So catch me there, dudes. And thank you all so much for listening and watching. And we will see you guys on the next one. Adios.